It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Jessy Rodriquez, who is a sports business coach. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. Thank you so much. And I don't want to leave out my husband's name. So it's Jessy Rodriquez Melendez. And I'm doing great. Excited to be here with you today.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to become a sports business coach?
So I always say that the industry actually found me. My husband is a professional instructor and coach and mentor. And he brought me the idea of starting a baseball and softball training facility in the Bronx, New York, about 15 years ago. I thought he was crazy, and quickly fell in love with the industry and what we were able to do and help youngsters do with, throughout our experience and knowledge. And so with that facility, we helped over 100 of our athletes get college scholarships. And when I started to see the impact we were having on the youth, that's really where I became super passionate about it.
That's amazing. Of course, whenever you helped the young athletes get scholarships, can you elaborate a little bit on how you did that?
Yeah. So it all began with us making sure that we had a well-rounded athlete, right? So we wanted an athlete whose grades were up to par. They had to keep good grades in order to be part of our program. The second thing was we wanted to make sure that whatever position they wanted to try out in, let's say, a college or university, that they were well versed in that position and training properly for it. In addition to that, we wanted to ensure that they were eating properly, getting enough rest, being really careful how they use social media. I think that that's a big one now. And so we really became a full resource center for these athletes that were really looking for college and university opportunities.
What does your business offer?
So currently we have become mostly 100% online sports, really an enterprise. So in addition to teaching athletes and working with athletes and helping them, get stronger, faster, more agile, and really, be prepared for their sport, I have created 100% online programs, which was really unheard of 2 years ago. When I started going online, everyone called me crazy. They thought it would not be possible to bring sports online. And I actually did it quite successfully. I created the first ever baseball homeschool program through our organization. And last year during COVID, decided that I really needed to get in, with coaches and really help them develop and really help them build, launch, or scale using their expertise, so that they can turn their passion into a paycheck. And so I created the Sports Business Institute specifically with sports entrepreneurs in mind, or those that want to become a sports entrepreneur or use their coaching abilities to create a real business. And now I'm working with many different types of sports coaches, and I'm teaching them how to turn what they love into a real business. And it's through my strategies and systems and, the things that I did. And now I'm sort of helping them do the same, but specifically to whatever sport they're in.
That's amazing. Can you talk about, of course, the baseball homeschool that you created, the institution?
Sure. Yeah, it's one of the greatest programs I always say that I created. So through our baseball facility, what I started to notice was that there was a real disconnect. And what I mean by that was we had kids that were coming to our facility. We used to require our high school guys used to come in 4 nights a week. They used to come in Monday through Thursday from 8 to 9. And most of the time when they come in, there was always this disconnect between understanding really what a full athlete, and when I say a well-encompassed athlete, so they needed to get proper rest. They needed to keep up with their grades. They needed to train hard. They needed to prepare themselves mentally for the game. And I saw that there was really no way for me to sort of get a handle on all of that. So I decided I'll create one, because there really wasn't one that existed. And so I created the Baseball Homeschool program specifically with the athlete in mind, so that they can come to our facility. They actually attend school in our facility, although we're not the educators. I have a great partnership with school. And so they would come, they would do their studies online. They would eat properly, because we were ensuring that they were eating properly. They were staying off of social media the whole time that they were with us. So that was one of the components. And we also then so they were in class about 3 or 4 hours a day. And then right after lunch, they would start their training. So all of their strength training, conditioning, whatever entailed any part of that day, they would partake, and then they would come back. We ran 2 programs, actually. We ran one in Tampa, Florida, where the athlete actually lived on campus with us for 10 months. And so their regimen was up in the morning, light breakfast, in the gym, exercise, then log into class, take their classes, break for lunch, have a well-balanced lunch. Then they would go off to train, and they were on the field for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, whatever it entailed that day. Then back, they would shower, finish up whatever they had to do as far as schoolwork or anything else, shower, and then lights out. And so we ran a real sports program. I mean, they were really getting everything that they needed within this system. And it was the first of its kind. No one had ever really heard of it. And we actually had some of our boys graduate last year from the program, which was really awesome. And those boys are now off in college. So very successful.
With the program, can you talk about, of course, how it has helped the athletes to know what they're going to be involved in whenever it comes to the college way, as those are similar methods of college coaches do?
Yeah, and so just like we used to do when we were just a training facility, we would introduce those athletes to the different schools. So we would do school tours. We would visit the different colleges or universities. The other thing that we did was we had travel teams, and through those travel teams, we used to participate in tournaments. And in those tournaments, we would have scouts, college scouts, come out, see the athlete and show interest in that athlete, and then we would connect them.
What does your sports biz offer?
So through my sports business, I work specifically with sports coaches so that I could help them implement the right processes and systems. Or even better yet, I created a course called the Sports Business in a Box. It's a boot camp course. It takes them through start to finish how to actually build a real sports business. And I also offer them coaching opportunities. So I have a mastermind where I work specifically with sports coaches, and I really coach them and mentor them through the process.
That's so amazing. What does it mean whenever you have the athlete armor?
So armored athlete, are you referring to my
Yes.
cap? Okay, so this is a line that I actually created. It's called Armored Athlete. It is a scripture inspired athletic apparel wear. And the slogan and the theme is no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And that is what's on the back of every shirt. And it's based off of a Bible verse. And all of the gear is actually created with that in mind. I have also created, and I'm glad you brought that up, Brandon. I've also created a doggy apparel line, a sports apparel line for dogs. I had a Boston Terrier. He was one of the greatest relationships in my life. And I created a line called KO and Company. His name was KO. And because he was a Boston, the first shirt that we created was, I may be a Boston, but I'm a Yankee fan.
That's so amazing. What have you learned now that you didn't know before you started owning so many businesses?
That is a great question, Brandon. The greatest lesson I've learned is that any business takes time. We need to have a little bit of patience with ourselves. We need to find really good coaches and mentors that can help us through the process. That's something that I love that I've done. I've invested a lot in my, wanting to increase my knowledge of not only running a business, but how to really serve my clients. And it's really important that my clients get the best out of me. And you have to have really good processes and systems in place.
What advice would you give upcoming future sports business owners looking to own their own business?
The first thing that I always advise any sports coach, especially, is they have to identify exactly what their brand is. Who are they? Who do they want to serve? And then they really want to figure out, and I always tell them all, if it's not me, maybe I may not be the perfect coach, but find someone that can mentor you through the process. Find folks that have, I like to fast track everything. And so I always tell them, maybe it's not me, but find someone who can help you through this process. Building a business is not easy. I want to make that very clear. You have to have guts, and you have to have stamina and endurance and the mental fortitude to really be an entrepreneur. And so for that, oftentimes we need someone who can help us through the process. So I always say, find a really good coach, a really good mentor, whether it be me or someone else that can help you through the process.
That's great. Where can my listeners find you at on social media and your services at?
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn, Jessy Rodriquez Melendez. I am on Facebook, same, Jessy Rodriquez Melendez. And they can actually reach me if they'd like through email, which is jrmpcc@gmail.com. So that's jrmp as in Paul, C as in cat, C as in cat @gmail.com.
Thank you again, Jessy Rodriquez Melendez, for your interview, and best of luck in your sports business coaching.
All right, wonderful. Brandon, thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Jessy, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.